Hello, Aaron Smith.
Jason Thomas, hello. Good afternoon, and welcome to the PWBA podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. We missed you last week, Labor Day. Took the week off. Hope you had a good one. Hope everybody at home had a good one as well. But back at it here today with another new episode.
Absolutely. I have a great guest in store for all you good folks today. She's actually been on the PWBA podcast in a previous version, but this is going to be her first show to herself. So definitely excited to hear from this young lady. Gazmine Gigi Mason will be the guest today. So JT, let's not waste any time here. Let's bring her in and get chatting.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello. How are you, Gigi?
I am doing well. How are you guys?
Good.
Doing well.
Do you prefer to go by Gigi?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Honestly, yeah. Because when some people call me Gazmine, I just sometimes forget that's my name.
Sounds like your mom's yelling at you because you're in trouble.
Yeah. I get caught off guard. So I mean, most people call me Gigi than they do Gazmine, but I mean, people call me both.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll call you Gigi then. So,
yeah.
Gigi, as we kick off the show today, a couple months ago you were on the Sport of Bowling show, very important show that we put together to talk about racial injustice in this in the United States. And obviously a lot has changed in the world in the past few months. But coming in today, we just wanted to hear just how are you doing, and do you feel some progress has been made in the past few months? And if so, if not, what are the what needs to happen out there?
Yeah. I think some progress has been made. Like sometimes I get too caught up in, like in the news and even social media and the aspect of like, I just feel like the news, a lot of things that are on there are just like bad. Like they show a lot of bad things. But I do here and there, my parents might tell me or I'll see some stuff and, think we're making progress. But at the end of the day, I won't be fully okay until, Black lives in America stop becoming like, what's the word? Indispensable?
Indispensable.
Indispensable,
yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the bottom line. But yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people doing what they can to create some change, including myself. So we're going to keep pushing until we get, what we're asking for. Or I feel like what everyone in America is supposed to, pretty much have.
Yeah, it felt like to me, initially there were a lot of progress was made initially. You had organizations like the NFL coming to the support of the movement, which I thought was a big deal because they had never really expressed any political intentions either way for forever, basically. But it does seem like, as with anything, any type of movement, there has been some resistance recently. Has that been disappointing to you, or did you kind of expect that was going to be what would happen?
I feel like I kind of expected it, but I mean, a lot of people too, it's like, especially too, if you're talking about like Black Lives Matter, people think it's just like a trend, but it's not a trend. Like we're human beings and we just want the equal, rights or opportunities, whatever the case may be, as everyone else in America. And so, I mean, I've kind of had a feeling that, it would, let's say, a lot of people would be involved and, it would be like at, this big thing at the top of whatever it is, or more exposure to it. And then it would kind of die down a little bit. That I expected, but I do see a lot of people, trying to do the best that they can to make a difference or make an impact or reach out or speak out. So.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that all you can do? I mean, I think for the people who resist, the first defense is, hey, this isn't the time or the place to talk about this, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, isn't that always their first defense? And then it's like, okay, well, can't we just have the conversation just to see where we all stand on it? And then that's when you kind of realize where people actually do stand. And sometimes it's not pretty.
That's true. And I'm just saying, like, when people say, this isn't the time to talk about it, but it's just like, when is there really a right time? If we don't talk about it now, like, you never will. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Well, we'll all keep talking about it until stuff happens.
Yeah.
Now, Gigi, you had a pretty big national TV appearance just a couple of weeks ago, being on Good Morning America with Robin Roberts. Definitely something we want to talk about just that experience in general, and obviously, getting to promote your organization, Black Girls Can Bowl too. Just talk about kind of the process of how it went from, you're just being Gigi, doing cool things, and then all of a sudden, Robin Roberts is ready to chat with you and bowl against you, which was a cool element of it as well. But just kind of talk us through the process of how that all came together.
Yeah, so honestly, probably like 2.5 years ago, I just like reached out and yeah, I guess it came in full circle. And I was just contacted saying that, they wanted to like interview me, and the interviewee, is it interviewee or interviewer?
Interviewer is the person
guys
asking the questions, right?
You guys
And
were
the
helping me
interviewee
out.
is the one getting the questions.
Okay, so the interviewer was going to be Robin Roberts, and I was like, "Oh, snap, that's so cool." She's awesome, and it was kind of cool too because it happened to be on my birthday, and so she was, Miss Robin was just like, "Oh, you better never forget this," and I was like, "I never will." So it was just a super cool experience. You saw the interview part. We had a couple bowling matches, and they sang happy birthday, and it was super cool. But actually too, kind of the behind the scenes, I had put a little behind the scenes on my YouTube channel as well. We were really only supposed to bowl like one game, but I didn't like warm up or anything, and like nothing. So we were only supposed to bowl one game, but like my first game was actually very terrible. It was so bad. Yeah.
Just
So
like, yeah.
of course they're not going to show that. But like my first game, I bowled like a 140. I think we tied. I think we both bowled 144. It was so bad. I was like 7-10ing, like splits. I'm like, this is terrible. And my first shot actually was like a gutter, because I'm like, I didn't know if they had oil out or anything.
Yeah.
So I just like had my nuclear cell, and I just like sliding 30, and then the ball went like literally like into the gutter.
Forever.
I said, okay, there's some oil on the lanes. So then I just moved right. I grabbed my axiom, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot better. So then we bowled another game, because she was like, yeah, Gigi, I can see you're warming up. I'm like, yeah, I'm warming up now. And then I shot like 230 something. So it was a pretty cool experience. And especially too, since there's not too much activity going on in the bowling world that we would normally see at the time, like the women's tour, for example. It was just nice to bring just some attention to the sport of bowling. So
yeah, and I didn't realize that she was a good bowler. I was kind of surprised that she didn't have her own ball. She said she had her own shoes, right? She wore her own shoes, but it looks like she grabbed a ball off the house off the rack that didn't fit her. She might have given you a little bit of a match if she had her own ball, right?
Hey, maybe. I honestly didn't know she was like a bowler either. I knew she was into the other sports she played in, but I was just like, oh, so when she told me she was a state champ and stuff, I was like, Miss Robin, let me find out you over here striking on people, taking names later.
Yeah. I know she's been sympathetic to bowling in the past. I've seen some features that she's been involved with bowling, and it's interesting because in those cases it was a group of journalists talking about bowling, and it seems like everybody in the group except her was saying the things that journalists normally say about bowling, and she was coming to the sport's defense. So it was nice. It's nice when an athlete, and I think I've always heard when athletes, our bowlers, go to the ESPY awards, they're respected just like any other sport. But sometimes in the media, there's people that say mostly just it revolves around money typically, right? Because anything that where there isn't a lot of money, people for some reason respect it less for whatever, like I said, for whatever reason, even though it might be just as difficult as other sports, right? But it was nice to have someone standing up for the sport.
Yeah, I mean too, just to have someone who like cared, and maybe too it's because she, that was her dream to be a pro bowler, or that she was affiliated with it in some way. That possibly could have helped, but just to know that someone who's interviewing me actually like cared about the story, cared about the sport in general, I think that made the interview, a lot better compared to someone who just doesn't care and
Right.
just doing the interview.
Yeah. they just want to talk about those surface aspects, like how much money can you make if you're a
Yeah.
Pro Bowler, and then that's pretty much where the whole interview would break down.
Seriously, so it was super cool.
It definitely looked like a fun experience. You definitely showed off your personality in the show as well, which we definitely love seeing out there. And I think you had a post afterwards. I believe your father was pretty excited about the opportunity to get to meet Robin and just spend some time with her, and your whole family got to spend some time with her too.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I saw some, I was going through my parents were taking pictures and stuff. So I was going through them afterwards, and I was like, Mom, look at this picture. Who do you think, if you didn't know anything, who do you think was being interviewed? And she just looked across and she was like, your dad. And I had to zoom in. I'm like, look how happy he looks. So it was a great time for everyone.
Definitely looked cool, and
Yeah.
it was part of the experience was to talk about Black Girls Can Bowl too, and wanting to provide a bigger platform for that. So has there been some additional buzz for the group since the TV show aired? Have you had any additional outreach?
Yeah, I think there's been some some buzz. We definitely got more interaction on social media, more followers, and there are other people, people who've been messaging saying like, hey, because of I saw you on Good Morning America, and I never knew that this platform or group exists, and tell me about the experience. Like this one girl, she said I forgot what school, but she was there when the bowling program actually started, like in college. So she was one of the first people ever there, and told us some of her highlights, and we shared it. So it was just nice to see more people to just be connected and follow our page, due to the sport of bowling.
Very awesome, very awesome.
Yeah.
And one final question, kind of from this experience.
Uh-huh.
As a young player out there, you've done a lot of cool things. You've gotten to meet a lot of folks. So who's the coolest celebrity you've gotten to meet so far? You got Robin. I know you did the Mike Conley event. You've done the CP3. Who's the coolest celebrity you've met so far?
I would say, I mean, they're all pretty cool. 'Cause a lot of people are like, "Oh, are they arrogant?" Like, I'm like, no, they were super chill, super cool. I would probably say Gilbert Arenas, when we bowled each other, because his personality is into Miss Robin Roberts, but Gil, like, he's just crazy. Like, he's just fun. He talks trash. He's like outspoken, but super chill, laid back, and he understands, about the sport of bowling as well. So I would just say that was pretty one of my favorites.
There we go. JT,
Yeah.
who's the coolest celebrity you met?
The coolest celebrity I've met, man, it's such a long list, Aaron. You don't want to offend anybody. I thought Chris Paul was pretty cool. I mean, I got to interview him, and he was very, very much, I guess the word would be handled. Like celebrities are whisked away from one, appearance to another, and it's got to be tough. I mean, people say they want to be celebrities, but if they saw some of the schedules some of these celebrities have, they would be like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll just have my life." But he was very much. It was when he'd hurt his shoulder and he couldn't bowl the Chris Paul tournament that year, and so he had to make some content to fill that time slot. And so I did.
Uh-oh. All right. Some technical difficulties there for JT.
Okay.
We had those a little bit earlier as well, so we're going to give him the opportunity to come back. Gigi, we'll continue the interview and we'll find out more about Chris Paul later with JT.
Okay.
But in doing some research for the podcast, there's a great piece from the Undefeated, kind of chronicling your career and rise in bowling. And one of the interesting aspects of it I found was you talked about the last place trophy.
Oh gosh.
And it sounded like that was something that really kind of got you going. So for the folks at home who may have not seen that piece, first off, kind of how did you end up getting started in bowling, and just what made you motivated to want to kind of essentially take this path to collegiate and now professional Team USA?
Yeah. So, I mean, probably like a lot of other kids, into a lot of different activities and sports, really trying to find out what our niche is or my niche was. And, then I came across bowling and, with it being first a recreational activity, my dad's friend and girlfriend at the time, Coach Marty Jones and Monica Scott got me into the sport. Um, and they were just like, you could get potential, like letting my parents and I know you could get potential college scholarships. And we were like, what? So at the time we didn't know either, like a lot of people out there. And I started, and I just never stopped. And I probably want to say around the age of 12, I think it was around there. Maybe I started at 10, so maybe 12, 2 years or 3 years into it, I'm not really sure. um there was this tournament. It was the end of the year tournament, and everyone was getting their trophies and, like points, ranking, all that stuff. And
Hmm.
they were just like, and so for the last trophy award that was given out was to me. And they were like, okay, and now the last place champ award goes to, like Jasmine Mason. And I'm like, what? So my parents roasted me, especially my dad, like all my teammates, like in our youth program, my coaches. And I'm just like, we're like, how do you get a trophy for coming last place? Like, that's the first time I ever heard of that, like ever. I will say I did get a pair of free bowling shoes out of that, or a coupon towards a free pair of bowling shoes,
All right.
or something like that. So, but yeah, I never wanted to feel like that again, and that was like a motivator for me. So once I got that, I started to work hard. I mean, I thought I was working hard before, but I more so was probably just goofing off in practice and, league and stuff like that. And I think that's probably when it became, or it was like the evolution of it becoming a sport for me.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's how that all happened.
Gotcha. And you talked about the scholarship aspect of it, and eventually
Hmm.
leading you to the University of Nebraska, one of the most storied collegiate bowling programs ever. Kind of what was your path to Nebraska? Coming from Rhode Island, obviously that was probably a big change. Just moving that far away from home. But what was when you were kind of going through the college selection process?
Hmm.
How did you end up settling on Nebraska?
Yeah, so there were, I was offered like NAI schools, and the NCAA schools were interested. But after like learning, doing research, my parents and I, we found out, NCAA schools provide like more uh financial assistance, like more money. So, and I wanted to go to a school where I felt like I was going to get better and to win a national championship. Um, you know, I would say for everyone listening, education is important. I'm telling you, but my mindset, me personally, it was just different. I was like, I want to go to school where I'm going to win. And then, I know my education will be straight, but for me, bowling was number one. But I had 5 official visits: Vanderbilt, Valparaiso University, Norfolk State University, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and Nebraska. I named 5. But like leading up to that, we don't have high school bowling in Rhode Island, so I really had to travel, outside of the state to different tournaments, and especially Junior Gold too was definitely one that helped me get a lot of exposure. So if it wasn't for Junior Gold, who knows where I would be. But that tournament has definitely helped with exposure for me. Then I had my 5 official visits, and Nebraska actually happened to be my last one. I was just tired of like making up class and homework and schoolwork and taking tests, while in high school. And I was just like, oh, I don't even want to go to any more visits. My dad's like, hey, you made a commitment to Coach Strabo, you have to go. And I'm like, you're right. So, that was my last visit. And on the way there, I flew into Omaha. And so, Lincoln's about 45 minutes.
Hmm.
So on the way there, it was nothing but cornfields. I'm like, I'm never going to this school. Like, this is a waste of a trip. Like, why did we even come? And then when we got there, uh, the college, it helped make up the city, and I'm from a city. So I'm just like, okay, I can do this. It wasn't a whole bunch of cornfields surrounding the schools, like a little city. It was super cute. Lincoln's cute.
Hmm.
Um, so just after being there, being on campus, seeing the athletic program, and my intuition was just telling me this was the place for me. So that's how I ended up there.
And you hit those national championship aspirations very quickly when
Yeah.
in 2015. JT is back with us as well, so we were trying
Nice.
Well,
He's back.
yeah, my laptop decided it didn't want to work anymore today. So, yeah.
No worries.
Do you guys want me to finish my Chris Paul story?
I would love to hear it.
Yeah, okay. So I was just saying, he was hurt, and so we're making some content to fill the time slot, and he basically had all kinds of obligations going on that day, and so he was at practice, obviously not with the team, but he was doing like exercise bike and other kinds of stuff just to stay fit. And I'll tell you, as soon as I had him for my 30 minutes, he gave me 100% of his attention. He was the nicest man you could possibly meet. Thanked me for my time afterwards, and then it was off to the next thing, which actually was he was releasing his new shoe line,
Cool.
and so he went to a signing in Beverly Hills at like a big mall in Beverly Hills. And I remember going online afterwards to see how the signing went and just seeing all the horrible things people were saying about his shoe. And I'm like, gosh, if people said that about me, I would not be as nice as Chris Paul is to every other person. It was just insane. But, T.O. was also really cool. I got to bowl with him at the Open Championships one year, and that was really cool because it was just him bowling. Like, it wasn't like a celebrity experience. It was just like he was asking me questions about how much he should move over the course of the set, and just trying to learn about bowling. And that was a lot of fun, just getting to hang out with him. And then we talked about, his time, playing football and his approach to sports. And it was pretty interesting to see how somebody as great as him, and he gets obviously dumped on quite a bit for his lack of work ethic. And I can tell you, it's about as far from the truth as possible. He worked harder, if not as hard as anybody.
Definitely.
Excellent stuff there, JT, and welcome back to the show. We were talking about Gazmine's kind of rise through the ranks here, talking about her collegiate days at Nebraska. You mentioned Coach Straub, a legendary figure in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any good Coach Straub stories to share with us here on the
Coach
podcast?
Straub story. I love Coach Strabo. I would definitely say, like, when I first started at school, I probably didn't feel that way, but as my years went on and I got older, more mature, I'm definitely grateful for him and the experience I had. I would say when I first got there, like at school we do like we're into a lot of fundamentals and drills, and one of the drills, I've never seen this, heard of it before. It was like catch. He's like, let's play catch, and I'm like, play catch, like, so I'm at the end of or I guess the beginning of the approach, and he's at the foul line, and he's like, okay, you're gonna take a step and throw the ball to me, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you're gonna because in my mind I'm like, this is an old man, like our older man, no
one that kills Phil Straub.
like, no shade to Coach Strabo, but I'm just like, older man, and I'm about to throw the ball at him. So I was very like scared a couple of times, and because I didn't want to hurt him or hit him. The ball definitely dropped, but he stopped it with his foot. But as I started doing it more often, it was just like just getting through the ball nice, and he would catch it, and he would have like these like baseball gloves or whatever to catch it, so the ball wouldn't slip. And I'm like, this is crazy. I've never heard of this or done this before, but that's definitely something that I'll always remember from school.
Now, that is something to see when you see it happen for the first time, and we got to see it a few times at the Prairie View A&M Invitational events before his retirement. You talked about your release. I've always been curious, what's the, there's not you're usually not trying to loft to someone standing 6 feet away from you or however far away it is. What is kind of the purpose behind that drill that he was trying to get out of you guys when you were doing that?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it would really be to just be like free and relaxed, kind of just like when the ball drops, just like let it come off your hand. And also too, some people struggled with getting the ball, they would like drop it too soon, just getting the ball like out on the lane. So really just being able to make sure you can get the ball out in front of you, and also too just like being relaxed while you're doing it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's funny that in all sports, the best players typically all they're working on are very basic fundamentals, right? I mean, like I think as you get better at a sport, you want to work on these advanced concepts. But like when Steve Kerr came in and started coaching the Golden State Warriors, he was having them do drills that they did back in high school, and they're like, "What the heck is this?" and then you saw the team and what it did for the team, and it made it all come together. In golf, all the players just work on basic fundamentals like stance, alignment, grip, and bowling I think is the same, right? I mean, you're basically just trying to work on fundamentals all the time, right?
Yeah, the small details, they do make a difference. And like the catching drill, I would say too, is kind of equivalent, or another, I guess, a version of it could be, when people put like a towel over on the lane and they try to get the ball over the towel. It's like similar to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Was that what kind of surprised you? Was you were thinking, hey, I'm already really good at this. I want to learn some new stuff. And then you get there and it's like, you're going back to stuff you learned when you were a kid.
Yeah, I'm just like, I think for the first semester, probably there, I just did like one-step drills. Like I was tired of doing drills. I was tired of doing one-steps. But I don't know how Coach Strabo did it, but he straightened my arm swing, so we have like cameras there. So, after a period of time, I started watching and I was like, wow, like, how did he like straighten my swing without even like really trying? Because, my swing used to be when I was younger, like on the left side of my body. So the fact that he helped me straighten, I'm like, all right, I'm all in with the drills for sure. So yeah, I definitely appreciate him, and I appreciate Coach Klumpa, and just the paying attention to details, like having him instill that and discipline in me is I'll forever be grateful for it.
Absolutely. And while you were at Nebraska, you also had to or had some time on Junior Team USA, finding some success, winning some gold medals at the World Championships, which also took place in Nebraska, which was probably pretty cool. And after aging out of the program, it took you a few years to get back on the team. You made it in 2020, and with the COVID world going on, you automatically get a spot in 2021. So congratulations on that as well. But what did it mean to you to get back onto the Team USA program after experiencing some success and being away from it for a couple of years?
Yeah, it was like weird because like when I made it, I wasn't like, it was weird. I wasn't like happy. I mean, like I wasn't like upset, but I wasn't as, I guess, ecstatic as I thought I would be, only because I've been working at it, chipping away for so long, and then to finally do it, I was just like, finally. But I'm a firm believer in celebrating, every victory, no matter how small. So I definitely, celebrated with my parents, but I was just like, it just felt really good to be back on the team, to be associated with Team USA again, and be with so many great different bowlers and coaches. To be on Team USA, it's just like the pinnacle, besides being a professional athlete, and I'm just excited to continue to grow, with my teammates within the sport, and learn so much more, especially from the ones who've been doing it like forever, been on Team USA for forever. So definitely grateful, and I'm excited, and I'm just ready to put even more work in to continue to just be better.
All right. And, you mentioned, the PWBA, being a professional bowler, along the same lines there. And 2019, your rookie season, what were kind of some of your expectations coming into the season? And, what were kind of some of the big learning points for you just throughout the course of, a new tournament, a new venue from week to week?
Yeah. Well, I definitely wanted to win like a tournament. I mean, some people are like, oh, but it's your rookie year. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I want to, like, we don't go out there to not win, I'm going out there to to win, not going out there to come for second place type of thing. So, that was definitely like one of my like goals. At least I would say like a national title. I did win a couple regionals, which I'm grateful for as well. Um, and I think those actually helped too along my, I guess, rookie year, because it helped with, some of the experience that I learned earlier in the season. It helped me when it came to, I guess, like even the regionals or even later in the season. I learned a lot about like ball motion and lane play. And I'm kind of like learning that all at the same time between that, my game, or maybe working on some physical aspects of my game, not during competition, but like, during the season or even leading up to the season. And I would say some of the things that I learned early on when it came to like ball changes or ball motion, or if I like this, like using this ball and then going to this ball next, I started to see I was making some of the adjustments and moves faster towards the end of the season, even during the regionals. Um, so I would say experience is huge. Like, because I remember before my rookie year, I went out there as an amateur. I think it was 2018, and I bowled the East Hartford tournament, and I I didn't even make the cut. I just wanted to see how it would be, so I could prepare myself for last year. And I was on the pair with Kelly, and I was like, oh my gosh. She was like, this just, it isn't for everyone. And I was like, my legs hurt. She was like, me too, she's like, I'm getting old, but I'm like, you're still Kelly, you're great. um and 16 games of qualifying, and probably by game like 13, I physically and mentally tapped out, and I was like, yeah, I'm not ready for this. So I put in the work to really work hard on my game, and to have a better rookie year than if I were to just go out there, after I graduated school. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you just go out there? But I'm like, my process is my process. And I'm grateful I did that, because if I did just go out there, my confidence probably would have been like shot, to be honest. So I would just say like experience is definitely huge. I see that the veterans who've been doing it and the Hall of Famers, they just see the moves like a lot faster. They'll see it in like 2 frames when, there's times where I don't see it until frame 4 or 5. And those 4 or 5 frames definitely do make a difference, out there when the margin is just so small, everyone's really good. So yeah, experience is huge. Mental game is a big component, and I definitely saw my mental game getting stronger throughout the season. I mean, there were times where it's not, you're not always going to do well, and there's times where I'm just like, oh, like why is bowling just so hard today? Like, whether it was physically, whether it was I was throwing it well, but I just couldn't get the pin to the ball the right way to match up, to score. It's a lot, a lot of variables, a lot that goes into it. But I do believe if you just keep plugging along and keep learning, like, it's going to happen. So
Yeah, your story kind of reminded me of a movie that came out last year called Ford versus Ferrari. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I haven't.
It's really good, but there's a Christian Bale's character. He takes his son who's into racing. It's a movie about race car or race driving, and they're looking at the course that he's going to race, and he says to his son, somewhere out there is the perfect lap. Do you see it? And that's kind of what bowling reminds me of, it, especially at the professional level. You've got all these world-class race car drivers that are making the perfect lap. And if you happen to miss a move and they leave you in the dust, right?
Yes. Yes. So experience is huge. And, just to be able to go out there and bowling anything I can is just adding on to, to your experience. And yeah.
And the more reps you get at it, the better you get, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned bowling with Kelly in there, and that's for a lot of folks, she was the person kind of growing up, kind of inspiring a lot of young players. Who were the players you looked up to as you were kind of developing your game, and is there anyone you tried to model your game afterwards as you were progressing towards your career here on the PWBA?
So I would say, like, when I was younger, I didn't watch too much, like professional bowling, only because I didn't know like this is something that I would be doing. But as I got older, I started watching, and like Coach Kim, definitely, someone I look up to, and even Kelly from time to time, ask Kelly questions, try to pick her brain and send her videos and see if she can help me try to figure out certain things because Kelly's not only a bowler or professional athlete, but she's also on Team USA, a coach as well. So I would say too, probably like if I were to like choose someone to like I would model my game after or just think it would probably be like Kelly. Because I consider Kelly like a power player, someone who hooks the ball and just I hook the ball as well and just trying to, like what does she do well that I could add to my game? Like or how does she see the lanes? Or, she's bowled with the guys as well, so she has that experience as well. So yeah, definitely just try to Kelly for sure would be one of the people that I like look up to.
Have you been watching the 20 Greatest Seasons series? I know that's something I've been very surprised, learning about some of the past history and some of the past players. I mean, you even someone as old as me doesn't know everything about the history of the sport.
Seriously,
Right?
learning something new every day, and I'm just like, oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know this. And just too, I think the best things too when you're surrounded by great players and people, just figuring out what they do well that you can like incorporate into your game. And I don't think there's like a certain style of bowling, like a certain way to do it, because everyone's body's different. But I just think if you can find what other people do well and incorporate it into your game so that it fits, your game the way, you want it to, so that, you can be, accurate and, accurate as well. I think I said that twice.
Accurate and powerful.
Yeah. So you
yeah.
can be like
Yeah.
efficient and accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think that's just I guess the best way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of similar. I mean, great players are great. But if you take Patty Costello, who was on our list last week, and put her in today's game, she would figure out a way to win 25 titles like she did in the 70s. It's just being a great athlete's universal.
Exactly.
Now, Gigi, you mentioned the regional program. We talked about that. You're a two-time titleist, and you also got to appear on CBS Sports Network as part of the regional showdown. Just how important is the regional program, not only for the players who are out there now, but for the players coming up as an opportunity to kind of, get familiar with what PWBA competition kind of looks like?
Yeah, I would say it's here, like the regional, like I would say not the regional tour, but the regional part is here. So definitely take advantage of it. And I definitely do think it's helpful. One, it kind of gets your feet wet type of things. You bowl 8 games and then it's just like what do you call it, match play. But so that technically would be like one block of qualifying for us. So it gets people, get their bodies and minds and physically like, hey, like if they can't, bowl 8 games or they're feeling tired, just like, okay, well, I got the experience. I know that I need to do a lot better because qualifying, on the national tour is 16 games, so if I can't do 8 games, I'm going to struggle, bowling another 8 after a break. So I think it's definitely helpful to be able to get that experience. Also to learn more about yourself, learn more about your game, learn more about the different centers you're going to be in, from pair to pair, how things the lanes may break down. One might be hooking more than the other. I mean, I think there's a lot of great things that come out of the regional program. And also too, I think it helped me too with my confidence on the national tour as well. I feel like any win you get, you just feel a lot more like, yeah, I did this. So, it just helps your confidence, boosts up your confidence, and allows you to take that moving forward. So I definitely do think there's a lot of a lot of pluses from the regional program.
And you had the opportunity to compete on TV previously at the University of Nebraska. But what was that first individual show like with the bright lights and not necessarily having the teammates, having the behind you kind of out on your own? What was that? How was that experience different for you compared to the team element of it?
Yeah, I would say being on TV at school has definitely prepared me for like whenever else I would be on TV. And I think if I didn't have that, I don't know how how I'd be on TV, but I definitely was like calm, you know, it wasn't like nerve-wracking, I guess, because I was by myself, because at the end of the day, even when I'm bowling in college, like when you're on the approach, you're by yourself. So the only difference really is just I don't have like all the people, my teammates like, yeah, and stuff like that. I have the fans and my parents might be there. So I could count on them. But I would just say that the only difference is I just don't have like people like directly behind me cheering me on. But I do think that experience on TV at school has definitely prepared me for my, other experiences that I've had. And being on TV is fun. It's fun. It's cool. The bright light suit. It's hot out there. So, but it's fun.
I think we've definitely seen the fun aspect from, even thinking about, that first show in 2015 with Nebraska,
Oh,
on the regional showdown with Robin Roberts on Good Morning America. So the
yes.
energy is definitely there. You do not shy away from the spotlight.
Yeah, and I will say too, the goal is to be on TV more, whether it's CBS, whether it's Bull TV, and get some titles. That's the goal, not just to be on TV, but to win.
Yeah, it's a different game.
Yeah,
It's just, we just talked about the learning curve, and once you get to TV, it's a different um, different game. It's kind of a cliche, but it's just different. The process that you go about preparing for a TV finals is much different than what you'd go through preparing for a 16 game qualifying round, right?
yeah, I completely agree too. And on TV, everything just goes by like so much more faster. I know specifically in the regional showdown, I had made a ball change, and then I'm just like, I thought it was the right ball change, and a couple frames went by. I had split in inopportune times, and I'm just like, then I made the correct ball change, and I was just like, oh, just like a couple frames, it just makes a difference. But from that experience, I've learned, and I use that, for the rest of the season. I used it for the second regional that I won, and based on that experience, it helped me with the regional, actually in East Providence, Rhode Island, and in Hartford. So I mean, there's not all bad when you lose, and I don't necessarily take it as a loss. Just take it as a lesson, and you just keep moving forward. So
Yeah, it seems like you're a fast learner.
I try. I mean, you gotta be when especially bowling. Like the difference between a frame or two is like a trophy or not a trophy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Plus the money that goes with it.
exactly.
Not that money's important.
Money's nice.
You mentioned family during that regional show, and I know your family's been extremely supportive. I know your dad is with you a lot, out on tour. How important is it to have them, behind you as you try to, make your name for yourself in bowling?
Yeah, I think family is huge. Like for me, family is number one. It's the most important. My parents are very supportive. They're my world. They're my best friends. People probably seen it on social media how crazy we are together. But just to have them, knowing that they like support me 100%. They might not agree with all my like ideas and stuff, but they support me anyway. And then most of the time, the outcome is just like I told you so. But
Yeah, parents tend to do that. I find myself falling into that trap from
but
time to
just
time.
knowing just knowing that they support me, I feel like it just makes my um whether I win or I don't, just knowing that they're still there, and they're helping me along my journey, is super huge for me. Without them, without the Got Game fam, I feel like my job would just be a lot harder. I'd probably be like a lot more lonely, but just know you have a support system and people behind you who truly want to see you do well and succeed, um, is the most important. And I feel like it definitely helps.
Now, Gigi, we know you have some time constraints, so we're going to be
Hmm.
wrapping up here. pretty shortly. But while you're kind of talking about that, the Got Game fam, Black Girls Can Bowl too. You talked about the YouTube channel. Where can folks follow you, find out what you're doing, keep up with you, all the good stuff?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Gazmine Mason, my name. Facebook page is Gazmine Gigi Mason. Twitter is gmason_10. YouTube channel Gazmine Mason, and I think that my website jazminemason.com. You can see like different events I've participated in, or like schedule, my schedule, which has been affected due to coronavirus, but just a lot of cool different things on there. Black Girls Can Bowl too, a little bit about that is on there, and then also like Got Game merch, which I got on now. GotGame10.com. You can go there and be part of the Got Game fam. And also Coolwick too. I have some my replica jerseys if people want, and on my social media platforms there's like discount codes for that. So yeah, I'm all over.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
We got time for the binge watch question.
Oh.
I
think we got like 3 or 4 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a couple minutes. So our typical wrapping up question is kind of find out what folks are watching. So Gigi, what are your binge watch recommendations for the folks watching the podcast today?
Yeah, so like at least recently, like I haven't even been watching too much TV, but for a while I was definitely watching. I think everyone was. The Last Dance.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Like
yeah.
just watch it again and again. Just it's just so good. And also too, I forgot the name of it, but oh my God, it's gonna bother me. I forgot the name of it, but I can just give you a little background of it. I forgot the name on Netflix, but it was definitely really good. It was like this lady, and maybe based on the explanation, people might know the name. But like this lady, her husband like passed away, and he actually died because he got hit, in a car accident. And then another lady comes into her life, and it's just like becomes her best friend and stuff. And later down,
I don't know the name of it.
You
My
know,
wife
right?
watched that show. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Christina Applegate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And later down the line, she finds out that like it's the friend who killed her husband, and it's just like crazy.
Oh, great! Now we don't have to watch the show, Gigi. Thanks for spoiling it.
Sorry. I know I definitely didn't ruin it, but you should still watch it anyway because it's really good.
Hey, you know what I watched this weekend, which I thought I can't believe I hadn't seen it, and it's kind of related. It was like, when somebody makes a great show, there's like all these copies made of it, but the Tiger Slam. I don't know if
I haven't heard of it.
And you don't even have to be a golf fan to think it's cool, but when Tiger Woods won 4 consecutive Grand Slam events, it's kind of Last Dance like.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I would check that out if you haven't
gonna have to.
had it.
Yeah,
you don't, like I said, you don't have
it.
to be a golf fan to think it's cool. It's just a great story.
For sure. I'm gonna write that down.
Okay.
All right, Gigi, with us wrapping up here, just any big On the Lanes events coming up for you?
On the Lanes events, no. I mean, there's not really much in Rhode Island, like to bowl. I would have to like go out of state, but I'm kind of like, because of COVID and some areas are spiking. But in the meantime, I'm really just preparing for, team trials, and maybe, I don't know if there's going to be any, PWBA, anything in the fall, or a couple events. So whatever the case is, I'm just going to make sure that I'm prepared for whenever the time comes.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
That's what athletes do. As soon as the coach says you're in, gotta be ready.
Gotta be prepared for any opportunity that presents itself.
Absolutely. Well, Gigi, we want to thank you so much for joining us here today on the PWBA podcast. It's always great to see you. Always great to catch up with you. And just keep doing all the great stuff you're doing out there. We love seeing it. And we really look forward to seeing you on the lanes here sometime soon. So until then, just stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate you. Appreciate the PWBA fam, everyone, Got Game fam. Thank you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Gigi. Take care. All right, JT.
Yeah.
Another great podcast in the books. A big thanks to Gigi Mason for joining us today.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun getting to talk to her. I mean, she's doing so much, not just for, the Black Lives Matter movement and her own Black Girls Can Bowl Too movement, but just bowling in general. She's out there promoting bowling, at a time when, people aren't thinking as much about it. And it's important, in the bowling industry for us to continue to think about bowling and, to show, it's really the antithesis of COVID, right? I mean, it's what you do. It's what's great about, our society and our culture, that COVID has kind of shown us and taken away from us. What is important in terms of community and getting together and doing fun things, and bowling is the quintessential version of that. And Gigi's out there promoting it every day, and I think as the bowling industry, we all owe her a big debt of gratitude for the ambassadorship that she's kind of taken up in the sport.
100% with that. And if anyone has not seen the Good Morning America piece, we will highly encourage you to do so. It's about a 5-6 minute clip. You see the energy, you just see the passion for the sport. Robin Roberts, just such a great individual in her own right. So just being able to share in that moment, all pretty cool. You can find a link to it on PWBA.com. But other than that, JT, we got a few more podcasts coming up this week. Bowling Explained, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, with USBC Gold Coach and Director of Coaching here at USBC, Stephen Padilla, talking about the physical game. And on Thursday, we got Brent Bowers, 2016 regular team champion. And talk about another great ambassador for the sport. Brent out there doing everything for the sport of bowling, from Wichita and North Rock Lanes as well. So that'll be on Inside the OC, 2 p.m. Eastern. We got have anything else?
We do. We have a 20 greatest seasons coming up this week.
There.
And, if you're getting a little tired of the 80s and the 70s and the 60s, we got a good one coming up for you this week. It's Shannon O'Keefe's 2019 season, number 9 on our list, which I was shocked at how low that ended up being on the list, because it was remarkable to watch the season that she had. But it just goes to show you, as I mentioned on the podcast, how many great players there have been over the course of the history of the PWBA, and just things that we forget about, as time goes by, which is a shame. But we're trying to remind people of it. But this week, if you enjoyed, last season, Shannon O'Keefe's amazing run, you'll get to really live that this Friday.
Certainly. So definitely fresh in the mind, great performance. And to go along with that, for the PWBA fans out there, we will be doing some feature work, some videos in preparation for the PBA League coming up in a couple of weeks. So be sure to continue to follow us on social media and PWBA.com as well for all that. So keep an eye out for that. But until we see you guys again, thanks again for joining us. For Gazmine Mason, Jason Thomas, I'm Aaron Smith. Thanks again for joining us today on the PWBA podcast. Remember, Bowl TV, bowling lives here. Have a great day, folks.